Okay. Okay, so today we are starting, like I say, kind of a new subject, and it's mainly what we will consider to be like the bones, the skeleton, the skinning, how to attach a geometry to a joint, okay, and some IK, and I will explain more next week. Okay, so what is skeleton? So generally, when you hear the word skeleton, refer to the overall. So in this case of this creature, you can see the leg, the spine, the arm, the head, all of this, the overall refer to skeleton. It's a skeleton like in real life, right? Um, a skeleton is made out of joint, okay, and the joint are mainly the round structure, okay? And what happened, we can say that two joints get linked together. And that's why you will see this triangle shape. Somehow it shows you the parenting, how the parenting is affecting each other. Okay. Maybe something I will keep repeating probably, but one of the benefit of joint, actually, like I tell you many times already, a couple of times at least, is what is rigging? Rigging is hierarchy, and rigging is pivot. Okay? So actually, the beauty of the joint itself is when you create them, they already come in hierarchy. And you create the first one, create the second one, the third one, the fourth one, they get already parented. So that is already the advantage of the skeleton over a group, for example, or a null. They already came parented. And please know that each of them have a pivot. Right? So that's why, again, they are useful. Okay? So yeah, that's more or less it. Okay, so I think they should not have much question about that. So what is skinning? Okay, so skinning is generally the process of attaching geometry to a joint. Okay, and to go a little bit into detail, actually let's just show you the example. I think you'll understand it way better that way. Um, okay, so for example, if I look at this, I will go here to X-ray so we can see our joint through the geometry. And what happened actually when we are deforming something, right? Um, Actually, it worked with the vertex. So for example, in this case, for example, if I pick this vertex, right? In case you don't know about that, each vertex have a number. Okay, actually, probably I select two. Right? But if I just select one vertex, you can see this vertex is the vertex 299 versus this one is the vertex 292, etc. Right? When I select a bunch of vertex, then I will see the bunch of vertex I have selected. Each of them, each vertex has a number. Okay, and how the skinning works? Okay, so if you look at my arm, let's just imagine we have two joints. So when we bend the lower joint, what happens is the vertex is sharing influence through many joints. Okay, and that's how the skinning works. Okay, so somehow if you never do skinning before, we should just understand that we have no possibility to do that. We animate a group or translate a group, we are just moving the transformation group. But a skinning work really in the shape of an object. So the shape of the object is just to mention that again. So when we pick the geometry like that, we have a transformation group, right? And that's not what the skinning control. The skinning control what the shape, and the shape is made out of all the vertex. Okay, so that's how the skinning works. Any question about that? No, simple. Okay. Okay, so generally, in those modern days, they will have three types of skinning. Okay, that we will see that. Okay, so the first type of skinning is the most common one. It's called smooth skinning. So what happens is we apply what we call a smooth skinning. So the geometry will follow the joint in a soft deformation, soft line. Okay. Sometimes when we do skinning, we will do what And sometimes you may have seen those geometry where there are a lot of polygon count, even a lot of vertex. Actually, it's very difficult with those models to do the plate weight and exit the overall and achieve a good deformation. So to do that, what we do, we use generally a low resolution or mid resolution to control a higher resolution. Okay? So that's the other way. Or also sometimes we use constraint. So for example, we have a robot. Okay? So the robot, depending for sure what type of robot, for example, humanoid robot, right? They have no soft deformation. And they don't have flesh. It's kind of like this element like weird, etc. Right? So because there is no deformation, we do not need to stress Maya and apply a smooth scaling. A smooth scaling will be a bit expensive for Maya. It will take more resource to compute, right? The soft scaling. So what we do actually, we can use constraint. So for example, what we can do, we will create the same joint hierarchy that we can create for a human. But let's say for a humanoid, what we can do is actually just create a group of geometry, and this group of geometry will follow the joint, right? A group of geometry for the head will follow the head joint, and so forth. Okay, so we can use constraint actually. Okay, so that's the three methods we will more or less play in the class. Yeah, so the skinning tool. Okay, so if you look at this later on, you will practice this, not now, but later on. So what we have here in the file I gave you, so we already have a series, actually a full skeleton, right? And remember, the skeleton is made out of many joints, and the joint is the ball. Okay. So how to do skinning? So if I go back to this one, okay. So in the menu, I will show you very quickly what happened is this. We can see the menu more or less is split in three portions. So the first portion, I would call this is to create or uncreate. Simple as that. The second portion of the menu is to exit the way. Okay? And the last portion, I would say it's other two. Advanced two, not really advanced two, but other two. We call it other two. Okay? So yeah, and later on, what will happen is we will open that Windows, okay, and I will show you a couple of settings to play with, okay. Actually, later on, when you have to practice, okay, you can follow those instructions. That should be clear enough, okay. You just later on, what you will do is just go back through, say, okay, Mr. Jack, so skinning work like that, okay, I understand that. Do I understand the difference between three? Yeah, sure. For now, it's pretty much simple for now. This one, what you do is you just come here, open that file, and you will try to do what I'm doing right now. Okay, so if I go to Maya, so where is the skinning tool? So we need to be in rigging for sure. Okay, and it's inside skin here. Okay, so if I pop up the menu here, you will see the three sections I was telling you. The first section here is to bind. Okay, so it's to exit, to create, or delete kind of thing. Okay. So this one here is to exit, okay, and this one is other two. Okay? So how to create? So actually, again, how to create a smooth bind? Let me hide this. Lock it as well. Disappear. Can you disappear, please? Auto hide. Auto hide. Can you hide now? Okay. I'll try to go like that then. Okay, so technically, you remember, if you don't know about that, right? Remember that when you pass your mouse over a command in Maya, right, you can always see what is needed here. In case you don't know, I just repeat it. Okay, so very useful. Okay, so when you see the command I'm trying to show you now is called bind skin. Okay, so what we want to do, we want to bind the skeleton to control the geometry. Actually, let's delete this. I will just keep the guy naked. So what we want to do, we want this skeleton, so it means all those little joints to control the geometry. So I need to select the surface and the joint. That's what it tells me at the bottom, right? So select the surface, maybe the face as well, and the joint. Then we go to bind skin, okay? And let's just apply the default setting first, okay? So just say apply. So now what do we expect? You can see when I do that, the joint get colored. Okay. When you see colored joint, generally will tell you you have a skinning on. Okay. And you can already start to test by rotating your joint. Okay. By the way, something I will repeat as well in the other class, we generally never translate the joint. Okay, it will not be good. Okay, so we are rotating the joint for now. Okay, please stick to that. Okay, so we can say already it's working. Okay, so what can I do now? I can do this maybe to show you a couple of other functions at the same time. Go to bind pose. So if I select one of the joint and I click here and go to bind pose, it will return to the T pose. Okay, a T like that, a T like that is both stance pose. Okay, so sometimes please mind they have different vocabulary for that. Sometimes people will call it stance pose, T pose. Okay, sometimes I employ both. Okay, so it's this. Okay, actually it's the rigging pose, or even better, we can even say it's the modeling pose. Okay, so it's very important to return to that pose. A lot of students sometimes do the very stupid mistake by just like rotating a little bit and you forget about it. But already that is not the stance pose. So as an artist, you need to remember what is your stance pose. So if you're not sure, you can select something here and say go to bind pose. It will return to the bind pose. Okay, so very important to keep the bind pose. Okay, so now let's try on bind scheme. So what it will do? Well, it will do what it says. It will delete that scheme. Okay, so you can see the joint have returned without color. And that's it. That's all. Okay, so let's go back to the bind skin. So there is different option. So for example, if I select just one leg, okay, and maybe like I will select this leg. Okay, to be maybe clearer for you, I will just pick this, and select the geometry. Go to bind skin. There is an option here, bind to, and I can say selected joint. So what will happen is, obviously, you see, all the joint controlling the geometry are just the leg, right? I mean, in this case, is it good? It's probably not good, but you can see the upper joint here do not affect. Okay, so that is a way sometimes to apply skinning only on certain elements. Okay, so the option is here, selected joint. Okay, so sometimes we have to take the decision in between joint hierarchy or selected joint, or object hierarchy will select all the object in your hierarchy. Okay, but generally it's the first two ones. Okay, so again, I will delete my my skinning. So I will go back to my bind pose and on bind skinning. So if I try to do the skinning again, so what kind of option we have? So the second option you will see here is called bind method. And what is the bind method? I want you to don't get crazy about that. It's just algorithm. You understand the word algorithm? No. You need to do Wikipedia for that. Google a Wikipedia. Okay. Algorithm. Okay, let's try to give you a process of set of rule to be followed in calculation in order to solve problem operation. Okay, so what I try to tell you here is that Maya have different algorithms. So remember, what's the process of binding is to pick the vertex and assign it to the joint. So Maya have different algorithms to give you more or less different qualities. Okay. So in the past, only the first two one exist. Closest in distance versus closest in hierarchy. Then later on in time, they create a heat map and geodesic voxel. Walk away better algorithm. But you can get it right. It's not very right. Okay, and again, okay, what I try to demonstrate as well later in the next clip, okay, is this. Personally, those algorithms is just a selection as a starter. And so how it's going to assign the vertex to the joint as a starter. But remember, they always need to exist. So whatever you do up front, for sure you want it as accurate as possible. But is it worth it to wait 20 minutes for that? Okay. So again, so that's really the user decision when you do it. Okay, but I will try to go and explain to you a couple of things. Okay, so what I will do, I'll just pick those two here and I will duplicate them. Okay, maybe just 3 times. Okay, so on this guy here, I will apply the one called closest distance. So just click apply. Okay, the second one, I will apply another algorithm called closest in hierarchy. And the last one here, I will use the heat map. Okay, you can see already just to apply the heat map, it's a bit longer. Okay, so let's try to look at the difference they do. Okay, so the first one is closest. Oh. Okay, sorry guys, I did it. I did something wrong. I'll just skin unbind. Let's do it again. Okay, so this skin bind skin. Okay, selected joint. That's why. Okay, so reset my setting. So apply this and this. Then I will change to closest in the hierarchy, and this heat map. Okay, so now you can see if I move this, what happened is we can see a lot of influence from the right side. Somehow it's not normal, isn't it? Right? Let's compare with the other one. Okay, so those two legs. Huh? So you see the first one, right? Closest, when I apply the skinning, remember the skinning method I choose was closest in distance, right? So what we should understand right now is this is actually because they have vertex here, and those vertex are quite close of this leg. So that's why they receive influence. So obviously, closest in hierarchy for a biped character or quadruped character is not that great. But if you have, for example, a rope or a snake or something more like a tube, then closest in hierarchy is better method of skinning. Okay, so you cannot apply that for all situations. Okay, it's always about thinking about it. Okay, so remember that. Okay, so so generally in the past, you always use more or less closest in hierarchy about 90% of the time. Then sometimes you use this one. Okay. So yes, obviously, what happened is this one is closest in hierarchy. So let's compare this one now with the heat map one. Okay, so if I rotate, okay, you can see under the armpit, now there is a lot of losing the weight. We call this losing the weight. Okay, but the heat map here had done a better job. Is it like done final? No, we sure we need to be in it. Okay, but it's already a good or at least a better result generally. Okay, so you can choose different algorithm, and I will show you can practice that very shortly. Okay, so let's keep this in case we need it. Okay. So so the bipose, we see that. So what else we want to know is this. So is to how to, where is it? Okay. So how to paint weight. Okay, so what is paint weight? Paint weight is the process of editing the skinning. Right? So for example, if I go to that geometry here, actually let's delete all of that here. Okay, let's focus on this guy. So this guy, we know that has some clear issue here, right? So actually they may have a need for me to start to maybe paint the weight better here. So what I will do, I will pick this object. We go to skin, and this is the tool here, paint skin weight. Okay, so actually you can click on it, but if you click on it, you will not have the option box, right? So what you want to do is generally you want to click on skinning and you click on the option box, so the option box will open. Okay, we'll just take a couple of minutes here to explain to you the overall, okay, of this tool. So obviously here what happened is actually you may have seen a similar tool when we talk about the deformer. Did they show you that in the video? I'm not sure. I forget. I think so, right? But I'm not sure. The soft selection tool, yeah, it's like that. Okay, so what do we see here when we try to paint the weight? We will see that we can select the joint we want to paint. Okay, so pelvis, femur, the right femur, and you can close this, okay, and you can go and start to pick the vertebra for the spine, etc. And they have different way to see things. Now it's by hierarchy. You can go by alphabetical or flat. I think it's more or less the same. Okay, but it's just one is alphabetically. Uh, you can search for it. For example, left femur. Is there something like that? Left star. So you can see all the thing. Let's say left PB. Okay, you need to put the star thing for him to sort what you're looking for. Okay, so you can look at a joint like that. But I think generally by hierarchy is pretty straightforward. Okay. So what else here? Okay, so what I want you to see is this. These are the paint operation, and these are the paint values that you are painting. Okay, so there is. Just ignore the scale for now. Okay, there are three modes of painting. Okay, one is to hat. Okay, so for example, sorry, actually I didn't mention. Okay, so I think you should be already kind of familiarized with the grayscale method, right? Do you understand the grayscale? Did you see that thing's grayscale before? No. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so generally what we can say in this scenario is this: everything with black have no influence. Right? So we can see in this case the TBI here is the selection. Right? It's the joint was selected. And everything around it is white. So the whiter it is, means that it's 100% attracted. So it means the vertex will follow that part of the body at 100%. Okay? And more than it goes to black, you can still see the other side is kind of fully black, meaning there's no influence. But you can see here it's a bit grayish, so you see there is a bit of influence. Okay? So that's how it will represent for you the influence. So now what you have to do is to paint that process to either say, hey, you became more black or became more white. Okay? And to do that, there is three methods. Okay, one method is to replace. Okay, so it's really that. By the way, white means 100%, right? Remember, so black is 0%. Right? So there is three methods. One method is to add. So for example, if you have 10% and you add another 10%, then it will be 20%. Each time you add 10%, so eventually in a couple of clicks, you will go to 100%. Okay? So let's say try to demonstrate that. Okay, so I will come here to the add method. Okay, this is the percentage. So 100%, or I can go maybe to 10%. Okay, so what happened now is this. Actually, I should not show it to you like that. Okay, so this is the opacity of the brush. This is the value you are painting. Okay, so for example, if you go with the opacity of 0.5 and a value of 1, what happened? You're actually painting 0.5. Okay, if you have this to 1 and this also to 0.5, you're still also pointing 0.5. Okay, personally, I prefer go like that, so I know my brush is always. Okay, so now look at this. So what can I do now? I'm trying to add. So I will come here, add. So each time I'm clicking a bit more. Okay, come here, add. Okay, add. Or even better, maybe I can pick my other joint. I will come to the tosses and come here, click, add 10%. Actually, now I'm adding 0.5%. 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2, and eventually it will be kind of completed. Okay, so that is one way. And another way, actually, you can see here I have some weight. It was following my other leg. So actually, what can I do? There's two ways of thinking. I can pick this guy and add. Or what can I do? I can replace. Okay, and in this case, I will replace with 0 value. So what might happen is here, sometimes it always, see, I'm removing the value. So you can see now this guy try to don't be affected by this guy. Okay, but if I pick the femur here, they may have some residual information. Okay, so In this case, actually, it would be easier to just add. Okay, so you come back to the add, maybe come here, you want to paint this joint, add until it's done. Okay, so that is something. And else they have the smooth. So the smooth, for example, if this here vertex here is about 100%, and this vertex here is 0%, and if you smooth, then things will become kind of 50%, obviously. Okay, so if I come here to smooth, I come here and it's smoothing the effect. Okay, so that's more or less about the paint skin weight tool. There is shortcut I want you to know. Okay, so I put them here. Okay, so B, left mouse button, will change the brush opacity. So let's show you. Okay, so if I hit B and left mouse button, B, left mouse button. Okay, sorry. Change the brush opacity. How come I write this? It's very weird. Okay, sorry. Here, guys, there's a mistake. Okay, sorry. It's not the brush opacity. B is the brush size. Actually, it's like the soft selection. Okay, sorry. Okay, so look at this. When I hold down B, left mouse button, I drag from left to right, then the tool will become bigger. So that's the brush size. You can see actually this setting is here inside stroke. So I'm increasing the stroke. Okay. Actually, there is different type of stroke. Kind of a soft brush, here hard brush, and it's kind of a squarish brush. Okay, so sometimes we like to change the setting. Okay, so to paint differently. Okay, so beside that, the N. Okay, the N will change the paint weight value. Okay, so if I hold down N, left mouse button. Okay, so that's the B. And the N left mouse button, what happened? You can see I'm changing the values here. I'm painting. Okay, so let's say I go to add N left mouse button. So I'm changing the value I'm painting. Okay, so very useful shortcut. What else I want you to know about that? Okay, so middle mouse, left mouse button, right mouse button. Okay, so just look at here. I will demonstrate. So let's say you are painting the weight on this leg. Okay, so I will go how to paint the weight. Actually, you can do it that way as well. Okay, so when say you have no tool open, you can select the geometry, right click on it, paint, and we come here to skin cluster, paint, skin cluster. By the way, the smooth skin, it's called skin cluster in Maya history. Okay, so remember the two terms. We apply a smooth skin, but Maya call it a skin cluster. Okay, so if I try to paint skin cluster, I will come to the thing here. If I double click, the tool is open. Okay, so that's one way. Or what else we can do? Same thing. Select your geometry, skin, paint skin weight tool, option box. So now what I want to do, I want to pick the leg I want to paint to. So now you can see if I do the left mouse button, what happens is I'm doing the painting, right? But now look at this. I will press the middle mouse button. And you can see I've changed to the rotation icon, right? Okay, look at this. Left mouse button, I can paint. If you can see this guy is selected, the femur is selected. If I use the middle mouse button, what happens? It will go to the rotation mode where I can actually rotate my object and see how it deforms. I can come here, see how it deforms. Then I will go back now to left mouse button. And what can I do? I can simply continue to paint. I can change my tool to smooth and see how the butt will look like when it's smooth. Okay. Then middle mouse button, I can rotate. Okay. Or even better, look at this. I can use the up and down arrow to navigate down the hierarchy. Okay, so now, see, I'm at that joint. Left mouse button, so I can paint here. Middle mouse button to rotate. Left mouse button to come and paint. I will press the B now to scale down my brush because obviously my brush is too big. So hold down B to scale down your brush and come here. By the way, look at this. I put the smooth on, right? And it's not easy to paint when you have your smooth on because sometimes the vertex is not at the real, the vertex is not at the real location. Okay, so yeah, so if I want to come here maybe paint this joint. I can come back here and come here and, oops, sorry, smooth. That's why it doesn't make sense. I was on smooth. Okay, so I'll go back to my second joint here, left mouse button, and I'll start to do this, right? Even more, I can come here. Sometimes also you don't want to go with too strong value, so you can lower your value, so you paint more smoothly. Okay, it will take more time, more click, okay, but it will be better. By the way, if you have a Wacom pen, this is the time to use it, okay, because it will use the pressure of the Wacom. Okay, so yeah, okay, so those are the setting. Okay, so what else you can do? You can right mouse button over a skin object. So what does that mean? So that's the thing I just showed you actually. If you right click over a geometry, you can go to paint, skin cluster, paint skin cluster. Okay, so now you are in the tool to paint. But look at this, if you continue to right click on the geometry, you will start to see something like paint mode, add, replace, scale. So you can change the mode how you paint directly here. You don't need to come to the menu here. So you can just right click over your object and say, oh, now I want to go to paint mode and I want to smooth. I want to smooth, come here and just smooth. Right click, I want to come to paint mode. I want to go to the add mode. I can go to the add mode. Okay, you're not obliged to use that. It's quite advanced, but you can easily change the value versus opacity. You can do a lot of things here very easily. Okay, so okay, so what I will do here is I will just let you some time here to catch up. Okay, so that is how we create skinning. That's how we exit skinning. Okay, later on I will come back with other tools and maybe repeat how to skin or how to exit the skin based on how you guys do it. Okay, so to practice, maybe to have a simple practice, you can maybe open this file called leg skinning. Okay, instead of having the full geometry of everything, you just start with the leg. Really, I think you have plenty of things to play with. Okay, just a leg is fine. Okay, for beginners, beginning. We'll open. Okay, so if you open the leg skinning, actually, you will see I put the vertex on like that, so you can see the vertex even when the object is not selected. Maybe a shortcut in case you miss it. I mentioned it, but I may not have mentioned it clear enough. Okay, so this icon, okay, it's called X-ray joint. Actually, you have it here as well in shading X-ray joint. So if you come here, what happens is you will see your joint through the geometry. Okay, very useful. Shading, X-ray joint. It's different than the normal X-ray. X-ray, normal X-ray, you really see through the object. Kind of the object became transparent. But X-ray joint, your objects stay more or less the same, and you will see more prominently the joint. Okay, so that's a good way. So from there, just simply open that and try to go to X-ray. Then after that, apply CD. Okay. So remember, you can change the algorithm. Okay. In this case, it may not change much. Okay, but it's not bad. Okay, so how to do the skin? You select the geometry, select the first joint in the hierarchy, go to skin, bind skin, and review the option. So joint hierarchy, heat map, fine. Okay. Then after that, what you have to do is more or less to identify if there is a need for editing. Okay, maybe in this case, we may not see much actually, but actually, yeah, I think they have something. Look at this. What should I? What do you think should I try to paint right now? Is there something who looks not that great when the knee is bending? The knee itself, right? The front here is losing a lot of volume. So that's why I will try to put the vertex influence here more to the upper layer. And so they will not have that much pulling from the lower layer. Okay, maybe that can be your goal right now as an introduction. Okay, how to go and feel your way around there. You remember, we don't translate joint, we rotate joint. Okay? Translation like that will not have an effect on probably okay, so if I try to do the paint way myself, if you want to see, just take a look. Okay, I will just do it. You can see here. So the skinning is on, and actually in this case, I want to be sure that the X-ray is not there. I will just keep the X-ray joint. Okay, and how to go to the tool. So we want to have our object selected. We go to skin, paint skin weight tool. Okay, and if it doesn't, why it doesn't open? What? Window. Okay, my Maya have a bug here. Okay, let me close that. It doesn't make sense. It's crazy. Okay, so to continue where I left it at. Okay, so you can see here in this case, it starts to be very grayish when I go around the knee and the front of the knee. So what can I do is this? You can see there's too much influence of the knee joint here. And I want to remove that. So actually I can go to the hip joint. I will go to the add. Okay. I will lower the opacity to 0.1. That's a 0.1. Okay, so what happened is that each time I click one mouse, I click, it will add 10%. Okay, so now look at this. Be sure you are in the add mode. The opacity is 1 and the value is 0.1. So now if I go here, click, so I can easily just bring the value like what I want. Okay. And it's exactly now, I see like, oh, how can I judge if it's correct? Actually, the only way to judge if it's correct is to do the animation. So what can I do is this, I will middle mouse button. I'll go down and select the joint I want and to rotate it. And you can see already, it's kind of keeping the weight slightly better. Okay. But probably can do a little bit more. So I will go back now, left mouse button. I will return to the first joint here, the hip joint. And I will continue to add a bit more. Okay, maybe until something like that. If I do a bit too much, what can I do? I can come here and smooth. So it's kind of relaxed. Remember how the smooth work is this. Okay, so if for example my brush is that big, and that is the smooth setting, so you will check the value here. So that's 100%. That's kind of 20%. We will smooth all this region by maybe 50%. Kind of mix everything. Okay, so that's it. So we can smooth here. And now what I will do, I'll go and do the back of the cow. Right, it's not that great as well there. So what I will do, I will pick the knee and go back to add. I will add the very little at a time. Add. Okay, add until I'm happy. Even more. Again, I will zoom in a little bit more. Okay, and the back of the hip, not that great. Okay, you need me to repeat. No one. You don't repeat for one person and you just repeat for him already. Okay, did you open the PDF? So, sorry, did you open the PDF? Okay, so can you go to this page here? Okay, it's page 8. Okay, and I think it shows what the colors are, right? White is 100% or value of 1. Black is 0 and value of. So when you see the leg, okay, and you see black means the selected joint have no influence over it. Okay, let's show it to you again. Okay, look at this. So in my eye, if you look at this, okay, so when you pick an object, okay, and you go to the skinning tool, you will start to see it in black and white. Now you need to know what is the selected joint. The selected joint is the hip joint. It's this guy. So obviously all the vertex around it will be more white, means 100% attracted. Okay. Then obviously those vertex here, the ankle, are 0% attracted. But the one in between here have a soft deformation, a fall off, from 100% white to 0% black. So this maybe is like 10%, 25%, 50%. Okay, so it's a gradient. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so maybe let's just say to make a mistake, right? What I will do is this: I will rotate this joint, and you can see actually it's kind of a mistake, right? When I rotate the toe, the ankle is moving. All right, so that's not correct. So what can I do? I will go and do the paint weight. And what I want to do is, in this case, maybe pick this ball joint. It's called a ball joint. And you can see somehow, for whatever reason, you have influence. That is not correct, right? So how can I get rid of it? Then I will go in this case to the replace mode. And I will replace with 0 value. So it's almost like erasing. Okay? So I come here and erase, 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 erase until that there is no more weird influence. Okay, so you want to start again. So maybe what you can do, you can open the file called skinning. Okay, skinning01. Okay, and when you have this character, what we can do maybe is to just pick the shirt and the pants. We can just delete it. Okay, and we just focus on the main body. Okay, so select the main joint, select the geometry, skin, bind skin, and yeah, closest in distance, you should know by now that it's not that great for a biped. Okay, so we should at least pick closest in hierarchy or heat map or geodesic voxel, better algorithm. And just to heads up on something that I didn't cover yet, okay, is this. So what max influence means? So when you create skinning and you have a max influence of 5 means that the vertex by default may be influenced up to 5 joints. Okay, so it creates a very loose effect. So a bit like the problem I have just now, you can see the knee was affected by the toe. It should not happen really, right? So then sometimes, and this is a personal preference, sometimes people prefer to have more than one, and they prefer removing, erasing. Some people prefer sometimes to start with less influence and gain more influence, so by painting the head. That's more or less not priority, it's how you prefer, really. Okay? So now let's try to do the opposite. Maybe here we'll start with the max influence of 2. Okay, just apply that. So now each vertex should just find its influence out of 2 joints. So you can see already it's already a way better clear cut. Okay? So yeah. I will do now, I want to show you a couple of tricks, okay, to go along the way. So how is it? Is this, when we do the paint weight, a little bit like when we do character animation, we are animating from the inside out. So what happens is, for example, just to do a demonstration, right? When you do an animation, and let's say you want to place your hand on something, right? You don't start by placing the hand and the finger. Because of what? Because if you move the chest, all your hand will move with it. So that's why we start to place the body from the hips, the legs, then the chest, the arm, the hand, the finger. Okay, so we are animating from the inside out. Okay. Same thing with the paint weight. So what we do the paint weight from the hips to the leg. So inside out. And again, inside to the head and the shoulder to the finger. Kind of. Okay. So what happens is, somehow when we do the painting here, we are pushing the weight down. So we make it right here, then we push it, but it's not right here. We make it right, and we always push the thing until the extremity. Okay, so that's the logic somehow behind it. Okay, so there is one trick I wanted to share, but I just want to show you another trick. But for that, I need to do a little bit of paint weight. So just stick with me first and just look at it. So I right click over paint skin weight tool. Okay, so by default the pelvis is there, and what I will do now, I will start to add with opacity of 1, with a little bit of value of maybe 0.1. From here, click, 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 click. Go at the back. Okay, okay, so add all of that. Okay. Okay. Let's say I'm going down the legs now. So I use the middle mouse button, down arrow, okay, to start to check that leg. Okay. Left mouse button to come back here and start to paint around here. You can see when I put a 2 as a value, as a max influence, the paint weight is already way better by default, but it's not all the time. Okay, so middle mouse button, go down. Then I will start to paint around here. Same thing we have done. Actually, if I right click, select influence, I may want to put more influence here, and so forth. Right? But do you think I will do that for the other leg as well? No. Okay, so what I try to show you right now is this. I try to show you that there is a way, and actually what happens is usually we are working on the left side of the character. And what we do, we use simple Maya tool to mirror it the other side. Okay? I strongly advise you to work on the left side of the character, right? There, that's my left side, okay? Because the mirroring tool works better from the left to right. Okay? So I will show you the mirroring tool very shortly. I just wanted to mention it. Okay? So it's all about testing. So you move your clavicle, you realize it's, oh my God, that's ugly. Right? So this here, the paint weight should be more with this guy. So I will come here and add. And remember, see, look, I'm trying to paint the smooth object, right? It's not easy. Go back to the low poly. You really are painting the vertex correctly. Okay, so smooth is kind of nice to see things around, but also sometimes you're painting not accurately because of it. Okay, so that's something I will do. Then with my joint, actually you can right click over a joint as well. Okay, right click and say assume preferred angle. It will return to the stance pose. Okay, so now we'll do the arm. Okay, is it good? So right click, paint skin weight tool. If I want to paint this joint here, the arm, I can try to find it here. Okay, but look at this, the shortcut is this. You want to paint this joint here, it's not selected now. Now it's the metatarsus is selected. You right click over it and say select influence. And now this joint gets selected for painting. Okay, so now I'm free to come here to my smooth tool and probably give it a little bit of smooth, but not too much. Okay, a bit more smooth here as well. Okay, and it's really about testing. Okay, when we do paint weight, actually something was very useful is to set 1 or 2 key pose. So I will set a key pose maybe here at frame 0. Okay, and I go at frame 30 and I will rotate this. Then what is my job right now actually is to judge, is it pretty enough or not when it's going to move or not? Is it accurate? You know, and what you do, start to look at yourself in the mirror. Is it like that? Yes, no, maybe. Ask your friend. I don't know, right? So it's to make it as not realistic as human realistic, but does it look good? Right? That is your goal. And so that's why it's very hard to teach because each of you, based on different geometry, we all have different goals. Okay, but does it make sense? Is it pretty? Okay. To me, that's what I would say. Okay. So yeah. So what is the trick to mirror? So now we can see if I move both arms, we should notice a difference in a bit in both sides, or at least in the leg. You remember I paint the front of this leg more than the other one, right? So here's kind of what I want. The other side is not what I want. So how can I mirror? So remember to do the mirroring on a stance pose. Okay, you cannot mirror when there is a asymmetrical position. Okay, so what you do very simply, pick this object, skin. My God, I'm blind. Sorry. Where is it? Mirror. This one. Mirror skin weight. Obviously, we will go and see the option. Okay, and by default, actually, the option is correct. Meaning, what we want to do, if you look at the world right now, to cut the character in two, you need to be in YZ. Right? So you cut the character in two. So now, using the YZ, it will mirror from the positive to the negative. That's it. Okay? So, and what are those surface association? Okay? Just once again, it's algorithm. Okay? It's different method to help Maya to mirror the weight. Okay? Sometimes different algorithm have different better result. Okay? So if one don't work, try another one. Okay? It's as simple as that. Okay? So and these are kind of variable to help the mirroring. Okay, so by default, you don't really need to change it. It kind of works. Okay, so just come here, click mirror, and you try. Okay, you come back here and you start to check. So, oh, okay, it's the same. Okay, and that's it. Let's try to undo this actually, and just to let you know. Okay, sometimes it's a bit sickening, but it's like that. Okay, sometimes the mirroring will not work. Okay, but look at this. You do it like that. Apply, 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 apply. Then it does it. Okay. Well, once again, you cannot explain those kind of things. Okay, it's there's nothing to understand why it doesn't do it the first time, the second time, the third time, but the fourth time you do it, no one knows. Okay, so maybe you may want to try the mirroring. So it's very useful. And we don't want to always customize both sides. Sometimes we want to do that actually. Sometimes, but most of the time we are a bit lazy and yeah, we want to mirror things. You want to do those somehow. Okay, so I will give you a break until 10:25. Okay, then we continue later on with the joint. No worry, guys. We will practice again take weight later on. Okay, it was just an introduction. Okay. After the break, we will learn about the joint itself, how to create a joint, and how to manipulate them correctly. Then we will practice again the skinning. Very grateful. So very oh shit. Yeah. Oh, when me you mentioned
I didn't want it. No. Shit. Wow, shit. Oh, shit. Right. Can I get that? Oh, you know what I used to do? Like, I should have told that part. Yeah, I play my friend right. From one point to the other point. This is the real. Oh yeah, yeah. That's one way. Then there's another way. Oh, no. Because my badminton teacher, my badminton teacher asked me, what's good at that? Then my friend thought, okay, this kid talking high.
Okay. Okay, so like I say about the skinning, guys, by the way, just to explain a bit, right? What about rigging? So when we talk about rigging in the industry, right, they have people, their job more or less is just to create a joint and create a connection between all of that, right? Something we will learn more in future classes. But they have people, actually, their job is just to do payway all day long. Okay, somehow I would say it's an art to do payway. Okay, so we can spend a lot of time not talking about it, but this kind of thing came with experience, came with practice. Okay, you know the basic tool already. Okay, it's about practicing to make it better. Okay, but now what we will do is we will learn the other side of the thing. So how the joints are working. Okay, so like I say to you guys, what is a joint? Joint is hierarchy. Each joint has their own pivot. Okay, quiet please. Okay. Joint is a transformation node without a shape. Do you understand what does it mean? It's not measurable. Okay, it's kind of a group, but it's not measurable. Okay, there's no shape. Okay, so it's not measurable and easy to select. Okay, priority. Okay, so let's see what it does. So where to get the joint? If you start a new scene, you go to skeleton and create joint. You don't do it at the same time as me. Okay, just look. Okay. Obviously it's not nice to create joint in a perspective because it's all like that. Okay. So yeah. So when you're done creating the joint, when you click, you're done. Press enter. Okay. Press enter. It will terminate the tool. Okay. So what do we have if we look in our outliner? So that's the first joint. And if I hold down shift and click on the plus, it will expand the joint hierarchy. So that's the benefit of the joint. When you create them, they're already in hierarchy. And what is cool about them is all of them have their own pivot where you can rotate accordingly. Okay, so let's say I go to this guy, I can rotate this in that correct angle. Right? So that's how we create joints. So generally we go to a side view, front view, top view, skeleton, create joint. The create joint option, okay? Actually, to make it quick, okay, there is nothing, although there's a lot of options, okay? But there is nothing that is important right now. It's all those options, you can change them later. So there's no point, I say that to my animation student, I never change that. Okay? I will change it later, yes. Later, I will change what we call the orientation. I can create a package. I can set the joint image. I will do that on my own. You don't do it when you create it. Because when you create it, how you know what you want? You're still creating it. You know? So sometimes it's a bit hard to answer all those questions when you don't know the answer yet. Okay? So then, yeah, there's nothing really about the tool setting. Okay, so when you come here, skeleton, create joint, click, 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 enter. That is a leg. Okay. So something more about the clicking. Okay, so if you go back to the joint tool, you click skeleton, create joint, click, click, click. So let's say you realize that the previous joint is not placed where you want. What can you do? Click backspace to kind of erase the latest one and can return automatically to the previous one. Okay, so let's say you click, 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 click. Oh, forget. So backspace, backspace, backspace. You can return to this one and use the middle mouse button to reposition it. Okay, so let's say you want it more here. Then click here, click here, click here. Oh, I realize maybe this one is not correct. So I can backspace, backspace, middle mouse button, and continue to draw. When I'm done, press enter. So the shortcut, so left mouse button is to draw a joint. Middle mouse button is to move the latest draw joint. Shift click will lock the previous. I will show you that. Backspace, terminate the tool. And backspace, delete the latest draw joint. And enter will terminate the tool. Okay, so the one I forget to show you is the shift. So sometimes we want to draw things super straight. So a bit like Photoshop, actually, you can hold down the shift key and you can see it will lock in one axis. Only one axis. I click here, it's locked in this axis because the shift key is selected. Okay, so sometimes for maybe more mechanical stuff is useful. Sometimes it's not. Okay, shift and left mouse button. Okay, so we can practice this very soon. Okay, so here what I say is this. I say never rotate or scale a joint. I don't give you enough time already. 20 minutes cannot. Okay, so when we draw a joint or exit a joint, we never rotate a joint. We translate the joint. When we are creating a joint, never rotate, we translate. And just now, what did I tell you? Tell you the total opposite. When we are animating a joint, we are rotating it, but never translating it. You understand? Okay. So that's also apply for scaling. Okay. Um, okay. So what to do, for example, when you create a joint, huh? So for the newcomer, skeleton, create joint, right? So left mouse button, click, 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 you're done, press enter. But what to do if you realize that this guy will not be placed where you want? So what to do? You redo everything? No. Okay. So what you need to know is this. Okay. So when we are translating a joint, okay, it moves all the children. So if I pick this guy and I translate this, I move as well all the children. But it's not right because actually I just want to move this guy. So what can I do? Press insert. So you can see the difference in the icon when I press the insert. Right? And now I can move just this joint. If I don't press insert, what will happen is I will move all the hierarchy. Okay? So if I press insert, I move only one joint. Okay. Yeah, so that's all about to exit the joint and general rules about joint. Okay, so the first joint parent are based on world position. It can be freeze. Okay, so what does it mean? Okay, so when we pick an object, the first joint, if you look in the outliner, you don't believe me, this is the first joint of the hierarchy. It belongs to the world, right? There's no other parent, right? And if I look in the channel box, you will realize that the joint have transformation. Okay, if I hit 0, 0 is the center of the world. I don't want the joint to be there, right? So yeah, so the joint, the first joint will always have transformation, and this a joint cannot be freeze. If I come to modify, freeze transformation, apply, it will never work. Okay, so it's something with joint that we need to be extra careful. Because I showed you the other day that it's very important to freeze transformation. At least the geometry can remain at one position. Okay? But the joint, we need to pay extra attention. Because if we lost that, then if someone do a mistake, for example, to move the joint a little bit in transformation, and you don't know the value, then you may break your ring. Okay? So it's a bit dangerous. Okay, so the first joint here, values, is based on the world values. The children, so now you can see this guy have two values, and if I hit 0, it will go at the same position as its own parent. Okay? So yeah, but once again, the children as well cannot be freeze. Okay, so modify, freeze, cannot. Okay, so that's a constraint with the joint. We need to deal with the translation and be sure that when we are creating the joint, like I said just now, when we are creating the joint, we are translating the joint. We press the insert, we translate only one guy, right? When we place the joint, we never rotate or scale. So let's say you want your pivot to be here for the ankle, right? You don't come here and pick the scaling and scale it like that. You don't do that. So you will come here, press translation. You can move everything, or sometimes if you just want to move this guy, press insert and just move this guy. I want to move this guy and this guy. Okay. So what else we have to review? During joint creation and joint placement, never rotate or scale. Okay, joint are mainly animated in rotation, except for the stop parent. Okay, joint have a radius for display purpose, but you can change the general display of your. Okay, so what does this thing mean? So sometime you will realize that hello. Okay, so so sometimes you will realize your joint are too small. Your scene will be something like that. The joint look too small. So actually what you can do, you can pick your joint and you can change the radius. So your joint will look bigger. But you can see now by changing the radius, I'm just changing the radius on the selected joint. Okay? But if you come here, display, animation, joint size. So now in this location, what you will do, you will change the global scaling of the joint. Okay, so sometimes you will see it's like that. you cannot work like that. You cannot see. It's very too big. Okay, so you may want to change the global size. Okay, the global size here do not affect the local radius. Okay, so be aware of that. No, 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 no. Okay, this one I think it's not true anymore. Skeleton, create joint. Yeah. If sometime, say, let's say you already have a series of joint like that, right? And let's say by mistake you click on one joint and you continue, right? It will get automatically parented. Okay. So sometimes if you want to extend a joint, you can do that. Okay. So I want you to just take the time here to just draw 5 joint or so forth. Just get familiarized with creating the joint. Should not spend much time. Okay, I think it's very fairly simple. Okay, just draw a joint with the middle mouse button to the position, backspace to delete. Okay, just play with that concept. Actually, did you take it in? Testing. So yes, after you create a joint, you want to know how to move them, so simply select them, translate them. But sometimes you want to press the insert key to only move one joint.
Okay, attendance. Bunchong. Azizur. Chiren. Chung Chiren. Jingshuan. Gavin. Christine. Clarissa. Damien. Kian Lee. Ray. Halima. Catherine. Don. Junji. Ko Junji. Jiain. Valerie. Shaoshuan. Eugene. Movin. Mike. Mike.
That's what.
Din. Where is Din? Rizwan. Adelina. Diana. Not here. Akila. Bingshun. Bingshun. Ranger. Brian. Wei Hong. Brandon. 1 hour late. Last week also 1 hour late. Consistently. Ji Cheng. Levin. Alicia. Mingxuan.
Okay, so it's quite talkative, so I guess you have no issue with that. So let's continue. So other basic skeleton tools. So you can check here in the skeleton menu. We have insert joint, remove joint, connect joint, disconnect joint, and reroute joint. So actually only the insert joint is kind of very useful. The rest, the remove joint, connect joint, is more or less the same thing as doing parenting, unparenting, grouping, and ungrouping. Okay, so what these things mean in your daily life. Okay, so for example, you realize that there is a need for a missing joint here. So what to do? You go to skeleton and simply click insert joint. And what you have to do, click and drag. Okay, click and drag, click and drag. So you can add joint like that. That's the easiest way, really. Okay. So what if, for example, you to just show you the other tool like remove, connect, disconnect. So if I pick this joint here and I say disconnect joint, what will happen? A new series of joint will occur. More or less, it can be the same thing as doing what? Duplicating this guy and unparenting this guy and deleting this guy. Right? It can be the same and probably just pick this. I will have the same result. Okay? So that's a disconnect. Or else what we can do, in this case, what you should have understand so far is this, is the, right now, the first joint is this one on top, right? There is a thing here, let's say I will pick this guy, called reroute skeleton. So if I say reroute skeleton on joint 2, what happened is this. Joint 2 became the boss of everything. Then it will create somehow two sub hierarchy, one hierarchy to go down, and those hierarchy here go up. So reroute skeleton will change everything. Actually, this one sometimes is quite useful. Okay, but not that much. Okay, so let's say I pick the first one here, reroute skeleton. So you will reparent everything like that. Okay, so same concept. I don't like this joint here. I don't want it anymore. So I can say remove joint. I don't want this guy anymore. Remove joint, and that's it. Okay, so I don't think it does require a lot of practice. Okay, it's very simple. Just check it later. Okay, we have more time. Just check it. It's very straightforward. Okay, so here I say 3 important concepts when we talk about joint. Okay, and this one is the one you really want to listen carefully. Okay, actually, I'm teaching you only 2 concepts. Okay, because the third one is generally quite obscure. But because you guys are Houdini user, I may tell you eventually. But it's a more obscure concept that is not necessary, but also very important. Okay, so the 2 important things when we talk about joint is what we call the joint placement. Okay, joint nicely placed along the character topology to maximize the future deformation. So what does it mean? It means that when you have your character on keyboard, it is important to research where is the joint best positioning. It's not because you draw it at a certain place that it needs to stick like that the first time. It doesn't mean that it's perfect. So they always have a research process where you want to learn where will be the correct anatomy for my character. Okay, so that's the first important step. The second one is the local rotation axis. Then I will come back on this eventually very soon. Okay, so what is it? Demo joint screen. Okay. So here we clearly see actually the result of our leg. Okay, it was not that bad of a deformation. For sure, we had to paint the way. Okay, actually they will say something like that. Okay, maybe it's something you want to write down. Right. Joint placement is key. If your joint placement is correct, you should really have about only 10 to 20% pay rate to do. Because if the joint placement is accurate and you place your elbow here, then everything will follow accordingly. But if your joint placement is not correct, then that's why you will try to overcompensate by the pay weight. Okay? So that's why it's important, guys, to research what is a good joint placement. Okay, so in this case, we have tried that. Maybe later, if you try this, you can just delete the joint. Let's try again to create new joint. So come here, create joint. Let's click here, here. and here, and here, and here. So that's my series of joint. I will pick them and skin them. Okay? So in this scenario, what happened is this. Ew. What? Okay, so that's what happens generally when you don't look what's your skin setting before you do. Okay, let's reset that. Okay, and I will use this. Okay, so in this scenario, you can see that I will have a very good deformation at the back, right? Because not good deformation, but more accurate because the pivot is right there. So if I come here and do the little bit of the paint weight I'm talking about, maybe you had, okay, let's go to a perspective 5. Oh, and that doesn't help as well. I create the joint outside of it, okay? But more or less in this case, you should still understand, okay? So I go to my second joint and I paint there. And so the joint placement in this case, it's kind of good for the back, but it's very bad for the front. I will have very difficulty right now to paint the weight for the front of the knee. Okay, possible, but difficult. Okay, so generally we say that the joint more or less should be more or less in the middle, but middle where? More in the front, more in the back. Right? So that's why I always need to research. You cannot just assume, oh, I'll put it there, it will deform nice. Okay, so there is a process of researching. Okay, and that's what you do. So now you research. And what you do when you research, you reset, go back to bind pose. I realize this joint is not correct, so what should I do? I will redo, unbind my skin, and what I will do, I will redo my joint. Again, so I will go to skin, sorry, skeleton, create joint. Yeah. I don't do it like that because, yeah, I may have to do it. But yeah, just to go through the motion. Yeah. Actually, generally it's true. Generally I replace, okay, but I wanted to show you again how to create joint. Okay, but yeah. So you see, what you can do is do something like that. You skin it, bind skin, and you test. Okay, so you can test and also, okay, the pivot is too much at the front. So what you can do, select your joint, scale 10, and you can say this one. Sorry, I'm blind. Where is it? Skeleton, orient, join, join the doing. Oh, sorry, it's in here. Is it? I just need to see where they put it now. Move skin joint tool. Do you see that somewhere? Move skin joint tool.
Down, further down.
Yes, this one. Okay, so now what happened? You see, look at this, huh? Let's pop this up. Okay, so if I try to translate, obviously it's not correct. So what can I do? I can pick this guy and say move skin joint, and it became like that. And now what can I do? I can try, maybe I will move it down and more at the back. Then what I do now, middle mouse button, I think you can click back on the normal tool, the selection tool here. And now you can try again. But why I'm not using it like that actually is because the skinning reflect the previous skinning. And actually, it kind of creates kind of weird offset. So I'm not really testing correctly. So now if I want to test correctly, actually, I should pick that skin as well and probably come here and say, reset default weight of the skinning to see this. Oh, okay, that is all by default. So you can see actually with a lower position on my joint, I get a way better control. For sure, I will need to do that 20% take weight on the back. But somehow it's a better placement. Okay, so joint placement need to be researched. Okay, so later on we will see that, and we will practice that. Just bear with me a bit more than we practice this, all of that. Okay, so the second important thing is called LRA, and it stands for local rotation axis. Listen carefully. Okay, this one is sometimes a bit obscure subject with students. Okay, so when we create joint, in the best of the world, everything is fine. Okay, meaning that what happened is when, let's say I go to the rotation, I'll go to the rotation mode, And the rotation mode, when I'm in the object mode, will give me the proper XYZ. Again, meaning, so I can rotate the X, so it's rotate only along one axis, the X axis, and it's correct, right? And I have the Z axis and the Y axis. So the three axes have a very different purpose, okay? So that's the best scenario. But sometimes when we start to reposition your joint, our joint, okay, and look at this as well. I will go to the we'll go to the translation and change the translation mode to object. So now you can see the Y is nicely pointing along the joint, right? But now look at this. If I move this guy, I press the insert, okay, the insert key, and I move this guy. And I go back now to my previous joint here. You can see that because I decide to move my joint, then what happens is the parent points to the old position. And that will create a problem. That will create a problem that if I try now to rotate the joint along its own axis, it's impossible. Because what? Because now the X axis is like that. And it's not what I want. Okay? So after we place our joint, there is a need to reset those correct. Okay? Because Maya don't know. You know, you cannot do everything for us. Right? So Maya don't know. Okay, so the trick is this, okay? And I will repeat it later when we do our mini practical, but if you come to, there's two things I want you to put as a shortcut, okay? So the first shortcut I want you to create, you will come to select hierarchy. Do you know how to do a shortcut in your shell? Hold down, Control, Shift, and click on hierarchy. So now you can see I have a hierarchy button. So what happens if I select one joint here? Just to show you, we can see that only joint one is selected, right? So if I click hierarchy, what happened? Obviously, I'm selecting all the joint in the hierarchy. So the second thing I want to do is this. I want to go to the display, transform display, local rotation axis, and I want to create a shortcut as well. Okay? So now what I will do, I will pick my first joint, click on the hierarchy to select all of them, and I will toggle what we call the local rotation axis. So now you can see kind of permanently, I will see the translation alignment. Okay? So what we want to do out of it is this. I will pick the first joint now. We go to skeleton, orient joint, option box. Okay? So, and it came to the concept that I want to explain here is this. Okay? So, we need to select the primary, what they call the primary. Okay, so you need to decide what is your primary axis versus secondary axis. Okay, by default, the primary axis in Maya is the X, and the secondary axis is the Y. Okay, so what does that mean? Again, just to draw one new series of joint for you to realize that. Okay, so I will just draw like that. Then I will pick the hierarchy, the rotation axis. And the primary axis in Maya is the axis pointing down the joint. Okay? So you can see by default, the primary axis is the X and it's perfectly pointing down the joint. The secondary axis is the Y. In this case, the Y will swing from side to side. And same thing for the back, it swings side to side. So actually now with this orient joint tool, what we want to do is we want to reset the local rotation axis for this set of joints. So I will pick the first joint and the answer, although it can be different, I try to teach you in class to use the normal default Maya one. So what we want to do, we want the primary axis to be Y, the secondary axis to be Y, and this one is a variable instruction. And I will show you why very soon. Okay? What kind of option? Do you want to orient the child with it? Do you want to do the scaling as well? Yes. Okay. Sometimes you don't want to do the child. Okay, so I will uncheck this. And what I will do, pick this, click apply. So now what we have the X pointing nicely down the joint, and the Y is totally 90 degrees up front. So now I reset this joint and I have the power now to rotate it on itself. I simply need to go to his children and click apply again. Okay. Go to the third, apply. Actually, it changed nothing, but sometimes it will change. Click apply. nothing to do anymore. And the last one, cannot use this tool. You just come to the attribute editor and come to the joint orient. And what you do, you hit 0, 0, 0. Okay, so this guy will take the alignment of the parent. Okay, so that is how we do the local rotation axis in a very simple manner. Okay, I don't want to confuse you more. Okay, but let's try to confuse you a bit more. Okay. Okay, so what happened now? Let's say if I rotate in Y, right? You can see the positive is when the leg goes in that direction. But if I pick the other leg, and I rotate in Y, the same direction, it's a negative. Okay? So sometimes actually when we want to control the ring as best as we can, we want this to be standard. So it means if we rotate 90 degrees, it's always going left. Okay? So in this case, actually, to do better, right, my orientation should have been done here using the second axis wheel, and I will change it to negative. So now you can see the Y have popped down. So now you see I will have again a positive value when it's turning that way. Okay, and I can repeat the same concept to other joint. When I rotate this guy 90 degree, positive, fine. Okay, and sign this guy 90 degree, fine. And the last one, generally, we don't really care. Okay, so that's how to do the local rotation axis. Okay, so I show you example I want you to practice with, and it's called denser start. Okay, denser, where is it? Inside the practice, I think. No. Oh, where is it? Demo. Thank you. Okay, so let's take a look again to just try to understand whatever I tell you, but in a context. Okay, so let's say I pick this guy and I skin them together. So come here, skin, find skin. But when we move the spine, actually, because the spine is kind of a complex body part, generally we rotate all the spine together in some manner. Okay, and now look at this. If I try to rotate this, oh my God, what happened? Okay, even if I go to forward, hey, what happened? See, I try to rotate in X, right? But it's not rotating in X. So I mean, this is kind of thing. It doesn't make sense. You know, you see the local rotation axis. You expect that when you select it, it rotate in X, then forward, but it doesn't. So why? Local rotation axis. So now what I will do is this. I will show you the local rotation axis. I'll pick the first one. I click on my shortcut I just created for hierarchy. Another shortcut for toggling the local rotation axis. So now I can see my local rotation axis. Actually, let's go here and hide this guy for a short while. And you can see, because I have very different local rotation axis, I get different twisting effects. Okay? So that's why we have a need to redo the local rotation axis. So what we will do very shortly, we will unskin that. Now we cannot do that when the skin is there. And what I want to do, I want to simply pick the first joint. We go to skeleton, orient joint. And again, you use the default setting. Click apply. And you can test before you do it for all your joint, right? You can test. So now look at this. This one, when I rotate in Z, it will move forward and backward. Fine. Okay. And when I will move forward, what happened? It's a positive value. When it will go backward, negative value. Forward, positive, negative. Okay. So I just need to propagate this thought process to all my other joints. Okay. So I will go to my second joint and click apply. So you can see now my local rotation axis is similar like the previous one. And it's what we want to do. I'll come to the third one, click apply. But this time the Z goes to the other side. It's not what I want. I want to create standard truth. So in this case, I use to just change the plus here from minus to plus. So the Y will go up front like that. Right? So come to the fourth one, apply. Fifth one, apply. Fifth one, apply. No change, fine. Pick this one, apply. Oh, this one's not correct. It's okay. You don't need to change the primary, the secondary. You just want to change the secondary axis world orientation. In this case, now it's minus. Okay. And the last joint, important. We cannot use the tool to fix it. So you select it, press Control A, hit 0, 0, 0 here in joint orient. So now let's take a look at the difference that I will get with my skinning. Okay, so I will select the first joint, select all my geometry, skin, bind skin. So like I was doing just now, what we want to do generally when we rotate the spine is to pick at least chunk of it. And now look at this, if I rotate, it's nicely rotating forward and backward. It's expected, this kind of thing. It's not like just now, it's like weirdo twisting, right? Same concept, if I rotate from side to side, I have a very nice smooth effect. Okay, so you can see the deal to do the local rotation axis is to create predictability, to standardize how the joint will. Without that, okay, really to be honest, it will animate like that. Okay, it will not be fun. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to do that. I want you to open the file here called LRA Dancer. And the first thing I want you to do, guys, is to create the tool shortcut. Very important shortcut as a workflow. And if you forget, I will repeat very shortly. I want you to open the file first and start to get there. Okay, so do you need help to create a shortcut? No? Okay, let's repeat it anyway. Okay, so inside, you can actually, you don't create shortcut everywhere. Huh? Probably it would be nice to go to the custom shell, right? And the two shortcut we want to create, the first one is in here. So it's inside select and it's hierarchy. So you hold down Control, Shift, and click on hierarchy. So that's it. We have our first shortcut to help us to select the hierarchy of an object. Okay, so the second one is inside display, transform display, local rotation axis. So again, Control, Shift, and left mouse button, click, and your shortcut will appear. Okay, so if you want to see the effect, right? So what you want to do now, you want to pick the first joint. And what we do, the trick is to do what? The trick is to select the first joint, click on hierarchy to select all the children, and you click once to local rotation axis. Actually, when I do that, look at this. I can already test the rotation, and we don't need to see the geometry to understand that it's not going well. You can see that I try to rotate in X, and it twists from side to side. That's not correct. Same thing, I try to rotate in Y, but it's moving like side to side, like that. It doesn't make sense. And we can see right away the local rotation axes are all different. Okay, so we need to create a standard. Okay, so I'll give you a bit of time here to catch up on the shortcut, displaying the local rotation axis. Then we can proceed to okay, so what's the next step? Very simple. We want to bring our tool. So we go to Skeleton, Orient Joint Option Box. So the tool is here. By default, just use the default setting. To me, it's as simple as that. The only thing maybe that I don't find useful really is to orient the child. Okay, because Maya still don't know how to do it nicely. Okay, so better to uncheck the orient the child and do it one at a time. So I will go to the first one and analyze what I want to do. So when I rotate forward, I want to have positive value. Okay, and now I get negative value in Z. So let's click apply. Okay, so I will change the second axis wheel to negative. So the Y will flip in front and the Z will flip the other side. So now when I rotate the Z forward, it's a positive value. Okay, so I kind of, when I do that, what happens is I set the standard for all my spine, or I can even say my body part. And let's consider the spine here as a body part. So all the local rotation axis should look like the first one. That's it. Okay, so I do research one, which is the correct way I should do it. Okay, then I will apply it to all the joints. It's by creating this standard, no matter what is it, that you will have better result. Okay? So now we'll just go to the second one and click apply. Is it the same like the first one? Yes. Then the third one, apply. Oh, it flipped the other side. It's okay, just change to a positive. Then the third one, and the third one, you can see it changed just a little bit. But it's enough to create a lot of confusion. Okay? So the fourth one, the sixth one, fifth, the sixth I will need to flip it. And the last one, we cannot do it with the tool. We just need to press Control A inside the attribute editor, join orient, we hit 0, 0, 0. Okay? So that's what we need. We need standard, so it's predictable. When it will rotate, it will become predictable. No matter what it is, I rather you guys to use the standard. I'm trying to teach you with the X pointing down the children. Okay, that's really the standard I want you to have. But after that, the positive, negative, no wonder. It's okay. As long as they are all the same. Okay? We'll practice this again later as well. Okay, you want me to repeat this? Yes. Okay, so let's reopen the file, please. Okay. Okay, so LRA Dancer start. Okay, so it's very simple. We don't even need to play really with the geometry. Okay, just look here. Okay, if you want me to repeat. Okay, so the thing is, why we have those two things is this, right? If I just pick one joint and I click local rotation axis, right? Look at this, how difficult. I need to select one at a time and click. It's such a pain, right? So that's why I show you the trick here to pick the first one. Pick the first one and we click hierarchy. So we select all of them and we click local rotation axis. If by now you don't have those two shortcuts, I will say you're not serious about it. Okay? If you're serious about knowing how to do and do it better, that's what you have to do. So select one, select all, display the local rotation axis. And already now you can see they are all selected. Actually, if you try to select and rotate one at a time, you will ask yourself, what the fuck is he talking really? Like, what? I don't know. Okay? It's not, sorry to just say it like that, but I'm sure it's what you think anyway. Okay, so the concept, right, guys, is really that we don't really rotate one joint at a time with a spline, for example. It's a combination of many of them, right? So that's where the problem arises in this case. Because if I select all of them, select the first one, click on hierarchy, it doesn't make sense when I'm rotating. It's all crazy. Come here, it's crazy. Do you rotate like that? No. Do you rotate like that? No. Okay, so nothing is predictable. It doesn't make sense. So we need to address the situation by fixing the local rotation axis. Okay, and how to do? Very simple. We pick the first joint. Okay, we go to skeleton, orient joint. And actually, look at this. If you don't want to, like, think too much about this, okay, you can use the default setting, okay, and just say orient. Okay, so when you do that already, you can be sure of one thing. All the X are pointing down the children. Fine, we already have 50% of the job done. The rest now is to have all the Y and the Z pointing the same manner as well. Okay, so what we do, well, let's say in this case, I want the Z to be this way. So we can say the first two joints are correct, right? So we'll just come here and actually, can you see the tendency of Maya, right? Here and here. Because the spine go in different direction, that's why the Y and the Z don't know where to go. And that is my job now to teach him how to. Okay? So I will go to the third one. So skeleton, orient joints. Okay, so if I click apply and nothing happened, okay, don't panic. Don't just come here and flip it. You don't have to come and change the primary. Don't change the primary. The primary is the X. It's fine. Okay? The secondary, it's Y. It's fine like that. The third one, we just want to decide where it will go, where it will flip. Okay? So if the plus here give nothing to you, then just change it to minus and click apply. But you see, now you have done it for all of that, but you have changed this one as well. It's okay. Now pick this one and you try, apply. It doesn't work. It's okay. Just come and flip it. Flip. That's it. I'm done. Almost done. 98% done. So the last one, Control A, and just hit 0, 0, 0 in joint orient. That's it. Done. Okay, so please complete this. I'll give you another 3 minutes. We will repeat that again at the end of the class. I have another example. Okay, but I want to start to show you how to draw a joint for a full body and other little things about joint. Then we will practice the local rotation axis and the joint placement. Okay, raise your hand, people. You need 2 more minutes. No one of you? Okay, next. Okay, we're almost done, guys. So just stick here. Okay, so a bit like what I was telling you, I will show you extra tool very soon, actually, about the local rotation axis, like mirroring. Once again, we work on the left side, we mirror on the right side. It's kind of useful. I will show you that very shortly. And set preferred angle, assume preferred angle as well. I will show you that very shortly. You can review that or read that on your own if you want to. Remember, I strongly advise to work from the left to the right. So can someone tell me what is the right of the character? This one? This one, yes. Okay, so please keep this in mind. Remember, we refer always as we are the character ourselves, right? So you don't need to flip. Okay, so we always work on the left side of the character. Okay. And yeah, so let's start to do that. So we will practice with morphin character. So we will practice how to create a joint and try to find good placement. versus knowing what kind of how many joints we need for a full biped, for example. Okay, it's all depending, but yeah. Okay, we will practice naming convention. Okay, creating a convention for the local rotation axis. Okay, we will mirror the joint, then we will create a final skinning. Later on, I will come back again for little tips. Okay, about the skinning. Okay, so we can open. I will open the file first, then you go for it very soon. Often character. Okay, so when you draw the joint, my tips to you guys is to draw by body part. Okay, so I will draw the leg first. So come here, skeleton, create joint, click, click. Now this character, actually, it's not that clear about where is the ankle. Huh? And anatomically wise, it's not really like, there's no real division. But I will try to guess about here. Then for the toe, and the last one here. Okay, so when we draw the joint like that, generally they will be in the center of the world, and it's not where you want them, right? So you will move them in here. Okay, just as a good habit, I will repeat this next week, but we usually try to always have a straight series of joint from the front view. So I will never translate them in Y or something. Okay. So that's it. So that's my first series of joints. So what we want to do, we want to start to rename it. For example, this guy. Actually, the naming convention I suggest to you right now is all here. Okay, so left hip joint, knee joint, ankle joint, ball joint, toe joint. Okay, so why we do a prefix is because it's very important to identify where is it, the left or the right. And why do you think at the end I put underscore GNT? Well, yeah, but why I do it? Why I name it like that? Well, we can keep track of things. Okay, for example, head. Some students sometimes call the geometry head geometry. They try to call a shader head shader. Then head whatever head joint. So nothing. If you have a problem in your Maya, seeing Maya will tell you head have a problem. What head? Head geo, head texture, head joint. Right? So that's why you put what they call, this is a prefix, so it's before something, prefix to describe the size, and at the end is describe the element, shader, SHD, for example, joint, GNT, GEO for geometry, right? Naming convention does matter, okay? So please try for today to apply this. So this guy here is called the hip joint. Sometimes I try to cheat, I copy the underscore GNT, and I will just rename it left knee joint, right? This one is the ankle, left ankle joint. Oops. Okay. Left ball joint, and this one is the left toe joint. Okay. So that's it. So how to mirror? Okay, so when we place our joint, actually the front view is correct, the side view is correct. That's it for now. So what I want to do, I want to mirror it. So I will go to skeleton. We have mirror joint. And very similarly to the mirror joint for the skinning, we want to pick the correct option. Okay. And the mirroring function using behavior is the correct one. Okay. And easily as well, I can mirror and change my naming convention from left to RT for right. So, oh, did I do something wrong? Yeah. I forget to click here. Okay, so just click mirror. So now the joint will be mirror in the correct direction. Okay, so now let's go and start the spine. Okay, so actually my first joint of the spine should start here in the middle of your legs. So it should be like that. Same height. Okay, and so that's the first joint. Then I will go and follow my topology. 1, 2, 3. Okay, in this demo, more or less, I try to tell you to use about 8 joints for the spine. It's not necessary. If you want to have 3, can you have 1? It will be a bit boring in there. Okay, so I think 2 to 3 can be a good answer. 3, 4, 5. More you have, maybe much more rotation you can do. Okay, so maybe today let's try to have 1, 2, and 3, and the last one, the fourth one. Okay, so why I created like that? Okay, so more or less, this portion here will be kind of my hats. Actually, this character don't really have kind of hats. You cannot really like bend from the hats region. It's mainly like from the COG will bend forward. Create one here because it's kind of over, it's super extra butt belly kind of thing. And create another one here for the kind of the rib cage feeling. Okay, you kind of have the rib cage. Okay, so that's why more or less I place it like this. Then again, we will rename this. So the first one, you can call it the pelvis joint. And after that, spine 1, spine 2, spine 3, and so forth. Okay, so I will give you a bit of time here to start to do it at the same time as me. Okay, then later on I will show you some tricks for the finger, and we'll talk a bit more later. Okay, so carry on. Well, you cannot mirror something because that's the wall. You have a new position. This is right, the right side. You just talk about it. You the right side. So now you want to move the right to the left. Okay, if you work from the left to the right, you are totally different. Huh? Why is it so difficult for you to just try to do with the flow? Okay. Which view you think would be the best view to draw for the arm? No, you. Okay, well, if you do the spine, then after that we'll continue do the neck and the head, and I will do the arms and finger. Okay, I think all of you are kind of there. I see a lot of spine around. Okay, so good question. Do we mirror or we skin first? First of all, we don't want to skin first because we have so many in the same joint. Okay, and we always mirror before skin. Okay, so let's continue. So how to draw the head? Okay, look at here. Sorry, how to draw the arm? Actually, just now I draw a camera. Do you know what is the far and near clip length? Do you understand this? No. So the top view is a camera, right? So the far clip plane, for example, it's a line, a visible line that if I set it here, maybe let's say at 50, right? What happens is everything after that will not be rendered. So actually, it's a good trick to limit your render size. So by playing with this, you know the background ends there, then you put your far clip plane just after that. Okay, but there is something also called the near clip plane. So in this case, maybe about 10. So Maya will not render what is near the camera. Okay, so actually I will use that feature here. We'll come here, view, select camera. Okay, actually what I'm trying to do right now is this. I'm trying to create the joint. Okay, but how can I draw the joint because I see nothing? Okay, right? I see nothing. So what I want to do, I want to select the camera, Control A, and I want to increase here the near clip plane. Let's say to 15. If it doesn't change anything, increase it 100. Oh, 100, I just see the toe. So let's go maybe to 80. See, 80 start to cut the head. So what I will do now, I will hold down. I forget how. Okay, let's go to maybe 90. It's too much. Maybe 85. So maybe 82. No, 83. Yes, I forget how. It should work, but somehow not working. Okay, sorry. The shortcut is Control middle mouse button, and you can draw. You can click in the value box here. Okay, so view, select camera. So if I do that, you can see I will increase the value until I cut totally the head. So now it's very easy for me to go to the X-ray mode and start to draw my joint. So my clavicle start here to the elbow, then the wrist, and one last one for the palm joint. Okay, so we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 joint for the arm. Then what I will do, now I will move it up and start to replace as well accordingly from the front view now. So it goes like that. So this guy here to here is correct. Now we'll just lower this guy. Go here, lower this guy, and lower this guy as well. So that's my arm. Okay. And I think for the neck and the head, I will go quickly. Okay. So we want to create another one here for the base. Okay. That will be my neck. And this character head pivot is kind of about here. Okay. I will just create 2 joints like that. That's the neck and the head. And the trick for the finger that I have for you is this. So, you know about snapping? Snapping tool? Do you know about snapping tool? Yes? Okay. Well, let's try. And if you cannot make it, then it's okay. Okay, if you cannot make it, what is it? Is, well, you will have to do the same thing we do for the arm. You can go to the top view. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? Actually, can you see something that I showed you just now, right? My joints are too big. I cannot work very nicely. So what you need to do, anything that you want to change in Maya about the displays inside display, animation, joint size. So I want to change something about the display about animation. So everything will be here. I want to change something about the display for polygon. It's all here, right? So inside animation, we have joint size that I can come down and change the size. Okay, so you draw your finger from the top. Then what you do that way. Now you translate them up, and you go and you start to place them like that, like that, like that, like that. And obviously, you need to start to check in your perspective. Is it correct? This guy is too high, or this guy now is too low, and so forth. Okay, so that is one way to do. If you want a faster way, or at least to my thinking, okay, so what I do is I will go to the skeleton, go to create joint, but I activate here, this one, snap to vertex. Okay, so now what I will do, I will just click, and the joint will get snapped directly onto the vertex. 1, 2, 3, and the last one, I will put it at the tip here, 4. So now I can remove it. And what I will do, just translate this guy nicely inside the finger. Is it simple enough? No, too complex, right? Let's repeat. Okay, so I want to create a joint. I will go to snap on vertex. Okay, enable. Then I will carefully click left mouse button, click, click. Sometimes you may not click correctly. You can just backspace and start again. So you click until it looks snap. Right? So click, 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 click. You're done with your joint. Press enter. And now nicely you can translate. But you see now if I try to translate, it doesn't really work. Why? My snap is still active. Huh? So just remember to turn it off. Okay. Then the last thumb. So the thumb, I will go and activate the snap again. So we'll maybe try from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, we need 4 joints for each finger. Okay. And in this case, the thumb is slightly more complex somehow. But now we'll translate it in. We'll continue to move it in a couple angles to be sure that it's inside my geometry. Okay. So I think for today, maybe as a practice, maybe you don't really need to do the thing here. Okay, so give you a bit of more time to mirror the left to the right. Actually, look at this. Let me just finish it. Okay. Okay. So look at this. So what should I do now? The thumb get children of the wrist. Is this one? Press P. All the finger get children of the tip. Press P. And now what I want to do, I will select my full arm with a finger. We go to skeleton, mirror joint. My settings are correct, so we'll mirror it. So at the end now we have all the body part. Okay, remember, try to work in body part. So the 2 legs, the spine, 1 arm plus the finger, the arm plus the finger plus the neck and the head. That's all the body part. And now I want to parent those body part to the full rig. So to make a full skeleton. So the 2 legs to the first joint, the 2 clavicle plus the neck to the last joint of the spine. So now we can start to test our skinning. Actually, I should not say it like that. I should not say we test our skinning. We are testing our joint placement. That's the most important thing, joint placement. Okay, so that's what I'm doing now. I will create the skinning, a temporary skinning to test all of that. So skin, find skin, choose the method you like. Maybe we can remove maybe to 3 joint. Okay, and here we'll use the heat map, apply. The heat map is a bit capricious. Let's go to voxel. Okay. So now what I will do, it's my duty now to research. Take note. Is the joint placement correct? So what I will do, I will rotate this guy. And the question you should ask yourself is this. Is the paint weight can be done? Okay. So you need to try it, really. Okay, so in this case, I will go back to the pelvis one. I'll try to put more weight here. Just to prove to myself, am I going to do like 100% of the job? No. Now I'm in a state of mind where I'm testing the joint placement. So I just want to prove to myself by doing a quick take weight, is it going to be fine later? Okay. So yeah, so that's it. So I will just come here and quickly research. Okay, so I say, okay, yeah, later on I will be able to do a good job here. And select the second joint here. And you can test the same thing. You can come and rotate it a bit. Okay, I will fix the paint weight like that. Actually, I think I should have used values of 2. Would have been better. Then go to the next joint. Okay, I will do that for all my joints and test, is it correct or not? Okay, if I'm happy, I will have take my list of notes. Maybe the elbow need to be replaced. Maybe the wrist need to be replaced. Many things can be replaced. So what I will do, listen carefully. Then what I will do, skin, go to bind skin. So I return to my T pose. Then what I want to do, I want to skin. I want to unbind the skin. Okay, now I want to show you a special option actually with unbinding the skin. If I unbind the skin, by default, it will delete its history. But I can keep the history. So it means that the paint weight I do will still be memorized. Okay, so at least I don't lose too much. I research, but I can still use it later. Is it going to be my final pay weight? Probably not. But at least when I try to reuse now, possible. Okay, so I will just apply like that. So now you can see the skinning is not active anymore, but it's still in the history. Okay, so what I will do now is this. I will replace the joint. So let's say I was saying the elbow, the knee is not correct. So I will press the insert. I will move it, maybe even lower, like that. And what I want to do, delete the other side, and I will mirror my joint. Oh, sorry, skeleton, mirror, joint again. And I will do the same thing for the arm. I think this joint is not nicely placed. I will delete the other side, move this guy, and remirror my joint. Then what I do, go back to your skinning, skin, bind skin. Yeah. And yeah, so yeah. Okay, when I delete the skinning just now, right, and keep this like that, right, actually the history does matter. I should not have deleted the joint, okay? I just keep it. Let me undo, maybe. Undo. Okay, so what I will do, see, like I say, I always work from the left side. So you can see I will move the joint on my left side. I don't care about the right side, actually, right? So now I can recreate my skinning. Why are you painful? Okay, can you recreate your skinning, and you can see the result on the left side, right? So okay, yes, the placement is way better, right? So eventually later on, I will mirror it. I will mirror my joint later on. Okay. So I'll give you a bit of time here to catch up and experiment this. And they just have one little thing. Let's do it, and then you have the time to do. So when you do the local rotation axis, right? When you finish with your joint placement, what will be the next step is the local rotation axis, right? So that's where actually I will really delete my skinning now. Okay, I'll unbind again, then delete all the right side. Then as well, I start to unparent like what it was before. I unparent by body part, okay, until all the finger, okay. And what you do, now is the time where you want to maybe have a layer for your geometry and start to set your local rotation axis. Once your local rotation axis is done, you can do your final framework. Okay, I know it's a lot of steps. I'm not obliged to teach you like that, but I teach you like that because it's still the best way. It's the best way, it's the real thing. If you want to create quality rig, that is what you have to do. I'm not obliged to show you. I can just show you, just do a local rotation axis, fine. But it's the correct way to go along the way and have good result. So now what I want to do for the leg, the local rotation axis, when I rotate forward, is positive value. When I rotate backward, it will be negative. So the Y is correct and the Z is correct. The X, is the X correct like that? No, see, it's slightly off. Okay, is slightly off good? No, it's not good. Okay, so I will pick this guy now, skeleton, orient joint. And yeah, I just want to fix the X and I want to keep the Y in front. So just apply and it's fine. The Y stay there. This guy is now the opposite, right? So if I do that, I want the opposite. So what I will do, flip this guy and actually come here now, flip all this guy as well. So now all the Y is pointing up front. And I just need to always check the last one, Control A, and hit 0, 0, 0. Okay, one more thing. Look at this guy. Okay, so I didn't show you. When I mirror skeleton, mirror joint. Okay, if I mirror like that, do you think the local rotation axis on the other side is correct? Is this correct? I tell you, the X should point down the joint, but this X is totally crazy. Okay, don't get it wrong. This is correct. Okay, because what? Because we mirror. So what is down became up, what is left became right, what is back became front. So because of that, that's where when we will use our rig, we can rotate like that in a symmetrical manner. Look at this, okay? I will just move this guy a little bit. If I mirror using the orientation method, okay? So you can see it's a exact local rotation axis, but I don't have symmetries. Right? So that's why when we want to mirror, remember, always work on the left and we mirror on the right. And when you do your local rotation axis on one side, you mirror it using behavior, and this is fine. Do not touch it. It's fine. Okay, so I'm done with my leg local rotation axis. So what should I do? Select hierarchy and hide it. And now what I will do, eventually, I will start to apply the same concept for the spine. So just identify. If I rotate the spine forward, it's negative value. That's not what I want. It's the opposite. So skeleton, orient joint, apply. It's not what you want. Just change it. This one is not what you want. Just change it. And the last one here, Control A, hit 0, 0, 0. And we are done. Okay? So I give you some time. It's about it for today. I'm sorry, there's a lot of things. Okay, it's okay. We will practice this again and again next week. I think now we cover more or less about how to create skinning, how to exit the skinning, how to create a joint and exit the joint. Okay? So next week we will really start to talk about IK, how to make sense and make things more dynamic. Okay, how to really start to move things. But we know all the basic and all that is just to get better at it.